Imagine yourself standing in the heart of a bustling public square in Prague. The year is 1583, the air thick with anticipation and dread as crowds press closer. Not for a joyous festival or lively market, but for a spectacle of unimaginable horror, where a wooden scaffold looms ominously, and from its beam dangles an iron hook, glinting coldly in the sunlight, forged not for mercy but for maximum agony, designed to tear through flesh and suspend a human life in prolonged torment. Drawing you into the dark underbelly of history where justice was synonymous with cruelty. And today, we're diving deep into the chilling story of the executioner's hook, an instrument that turned death into a public theater of pain. So buckle up as we unravel its origins, uses, victims, and the societal shadows it casts even now. And if this hooks your interest, remember to like this video to show your support for uncovering forgotten histories. Share it with friends who love delving into the macabre, and subscribe for more gripping tales that motivate you to question the past and inspire a better future. Because knowledge like this empowers us all to build a world free from such barbarity. The executioner's hook, known in various tongues as the Vleerhaken in German, or simply the butcher's hook adapted for human demise, emerged from the grim forges of medieval Europe, its roots tracing back to the 13th century when societies, gripped by feudal hierarchies and religious fervor, sought punishments that not only ended life, but etched terror into the collective psyche, evolving from simple butcher tools used to hang animal carcasses in markets. Where the sturdy iron curves held heavy weights without fail, these hooks were perverted into devices of judicial terror, symbolizing the dehumanization of criminals, viewing them as mere slabs of meat to be displayed as warnings against transgression. And as we explore this, think about how everyday objects can become emblems of evil when twisted by human intent, much like how today we must remain vigilant against the misuse of technology. So if you're motivated to learn more about these transformations, hit that like button to encourage content that sparks critical thinking, share this with your network to spread awareness, and subscribe to join a community dedicated to historical enlightenment that inspires positive change. Crafted from forged iron, the hook's design was meticulously calculated for endurance and efficacy, typically measuring between 25 and 40 centimeters in length, with a thick shaft to bear the full weight of an adult body, which could range from 50 to 100 kilograms or more, ensuring it didn't bend or snap under strain. The curve broad and unyielding to cradle the pierced flesh without allowing slippage, and the point razor-sharp. Often honed to a needle-like precision for easy penetration through skin, muscle, and sometimes bone, variations abounded across regions, some featuring single points for straightforward impalement, others with double or triple barbs to lock the victim in place, preventing any desperate writhing from dislodging them. And in certain locales, like the shadowy execution chambers of Nuremberg, these hooks were adorned with rudimentary engravings or reinforced with additional metal bands for longevity. Stored in arsenals alongside thumbscrews, iron maidens, and breaking wheels, serving as perpetual symbols of authority's iron fist, fixed permanently to gallows, city walls, or even church steeples, where they dangled as grim sentinels, reminding passers-by of the price of defiance. And as we delve into these details, it's a reminder of how innovation in tools often served dark purposes, motivating us to appreciate modern ethics. So like this, if it resonates, share to educate others. And subscribe for more insights that fuel your intellectual growth and inspire societal progress. The methods of employing this hook were as varied as they were vicious, tailored to the crime, the criminal's status, and the executioner's whim, often under the directive of judges steeped in the era's draconian legal codes. In one common approach, the hook was thrust between the ribs under the armpit, carefully avoiding immediate vital organs like the heart or lungs to prolong suffering. The victim, perhaps a thief or adulterer, would be hoisted aloft by ropes or pulleys attached to the hook's eyelet, their body weight slowly ripping the wound wider, blood trickling down in rivulets as shock set in, the agony compounded by the crowd's jeers or silent horror. Death coming not swiftly, but over hours or days from exsanguination, infection, or exposure to the elements, rain soaking their tattered clothes, sun blistering their skin, birds pecking at exposed flesh, a fate reserved for those deemed worthy of extended penance, and in contrast, for quicker yet no less brutal ends. The hook might be driven under the jaw, piercing the soft tissues of the mouth or throat, emerging through the cheek or skull, causing asphyxiation amid gurgles of blood. The victim's final gasps a macabre symphony to the onlookers. This method favored for blasphemers or perjurers, symbolizing the silencing of deceitful tongues, while abdominal insertions, skewering intestines or kidneys without fatally striking core vessels, allowed internal hemorrhaging to unfold like a slow poison, the belly swelling with blood. Pain radiating in waves that could drive one mad, often used for crimes of gluttony, lust, or betrayal, each placement laden with symbolic weight, turning the body into a canvas of moral instruction, where a rib puncture evoked Judas's betrayal stab, a mouth impalement punished false witness, and gut hooks shamed excesses of the flesh. This semiotic layer elevated executions from mere killings to elaborate performances of justice, reinforcing societal norms through visceral theater. And reflecting on this, it's a stark lesson in how punishment once intertwined with symbolism, urging us today to pursue fairer systems. So if this motivates you to reflect on justice, like the video, share it to spark discussions, and subscribe for content that inspires empathy and reform. Historical annals brim with tales of the hook's deployment across Europe's fractured landscapes, from the cobblestone squares of Amsterdam, where hooks adorned the Waag building's facade in Dam Square, a central hub for trade turned terror. Executions drawing merchants and peasants alike to witness the dangling forms of counterfeiters or rebels, their bodies left to rot as deterrents, swaying in the North Sea winds, to Nuremberg's infamous Lotschgefängnis Tower, housing an array of torturous relics, including hooks used in the Holy Roman Empire's inquisitorial trials, where heretics and witches met their end amid the city's medieval spires. Trial transcripts from Prague and Vienna detailing sentences during the tumultuous religious wars of the 16th and 17th centuries, when Protestant reformers and Catholic loyalists alike employed the hook to eradicate opposition, the device becoming a weapon in ideological battles. One execution in 1527 seeing a Bohemian Hussite leader impaled for heresy, his cries echoing through the old town square as flames licked nearby stakes. And further afield, in the Spanish Netherlands or French provinces, hooks featured in suppressions of peasant uprisings, like the Jacquerie Revolt echoes, where captured leaders were hooked and displayed on city gates, their decomposing remains a feast for crows, serving as billboards of royal authority. But perhaps the most infamous episode unfolded in 1535 Munster, during the Anabaptist Rebellion, a radical Protestant sect seizing the city, proclaiming it the New Jerusalem under self-anointed King Jan van Leiden, who instituted polygamy and communal property amid apocalyptic fervor, only for Catholic forces led by Prince Bishop Frans von Waldeck to besiege and recapture it after a year of starvation and strife. The aftermath, a orgy of vengeance. Van Leiden and his lieutenants, Bernhard Knipperdaling and Bernhard Krechting, captured, paraded in chains, then tortured publicly for over an hour with red-hot pincers tearing flesh from their bodies, screams piercing the winter air, before being slain. Their corpses encased in iron cages and suspended from hooks on St. Lambert's Church Tower, where they dangled for 50 years, bones bleaching in the sun, a perpetual monument to crushed dissent. Those cages still hang empty today, drawing tourists to ponder the ferocity of faith-driven conflicts. And in Eastern Europe, Ottoman influences blended with local customs. Hooks used in impalements akin to Vlad the Impaler's stakes, though the executioner's hook was more refined in its suspension. Records from Hungarian borderlands during Turkish wars showing captured spies or deserters hooked alive, their writhing forms visible from afar to demoralize armies. While in England, though less common due to preference for hanging or drawing and quartering, isolated cases during the Tudor era saw hooks employed for traitors like those in the Pilgrimage of Grace rebellion against Henry VII's dissolution of monasteries, bodies hooked on London Bridge as warnings, the Thames lapping below, fish nibbling at dripping blood. These episodes illustrate the hook's ubiquity, a thread weaving through Europe's bloody tapestry, reminding us of history's cycles of violence. And if this deep dive into the past motivates you to value peace, like to support such storytelling, share with history buffs, and subscribe for more narratives that inspire vigilance against tyranny. Beyond terminal executions, the hook doubled as a torture implement, integral to the era's inquisitorial processes, where confessions were extracted through escalating pain in strappado-like sessions, victims bound and hooked briefly, lifted just enough for the puncture to bite, flesh stretching taut as gravity pulled, then lowered for interrogation. Confess your sins. The tormentor would demand, and if resistance held, up again, the cycle repeating, each hoist deepening the wound, blood pooling on stone floors, muscles tearing irreparably, survivors left with gaping scars, deformed limbs, a living testament to justice's bite. This method, crueler than rope-based strappado due to permanent perforations, was favored in witchcraft trials, like those in Bamberg during the 1620s witch hunts, where accused women and men were hooked multiple times to elicit admissions of pacts with the devil, Sabbaths, or maleficium, confessions often fantastical under duress, leading to burnings or further hookings, and in debt collections or minor offenses, short suspensions served as corporal punishment, deterring without killing, though infection often claimed lives later, the psychological toll immense, breaking spirits before bodies, fostering a culture of fear where authority's shadow loomed large. And examining this, it's a sobering reflection on interrogation's dark history, motivating modern advocacy for human rights. So like if you're inspired to stand against injustice, share to raise awareness, and subscribe for content that empowers change makers. The societal underpinnings of such spectacles were multifaceted, blending deterrence, restoration, power display, and even communal entertainment. Executions announced by town criers, crowds swelling with vendors hawking pies and ale, children perched on shoulders for better views, the atmosphere carnival-like yet underscored by dread. The hook's victim, perhaps a murderer or forger, stripped to undergarments, paraded through streets in a tumbril, pelted with rotten produce. Then mounted on the scaffold, executioner in hooded mask wielding the hook, heated perhaps for cauterization or extra pain, the insertion a ritualized act, crowd hushed then erupting in cheers or gasps as the body jerked aloft, dangling like a puppet, convulsions drawing morbid fascination. This served to prevent crime by vivid example. See what befalls thieves. Placards proclaimed, restoring order by avenging the victim's wrong, reaffirming sovereign might, whether king, pope, or magistrate, their seals on warrants justifying the act, and bonding communities through shared ritual reinforcing norms against deviance. Yet beneath lurked voyeuristic thrill, a release for pent-up aggressions in an era of hardship, plague, and war. But dissenters emerged, like Mitchell de Montaigne, whose 1580 essays recounted witnessing executions. Disturbed by the glee and cruelty, positing that true civilization tempers punishment with mercy, or Erasmus of Rotterdam in his 1511 praise of folly satirizing barbaric justices, calling for reform, though minority voices amid prevailing acceptance, where theologians justified pain as divine mimicry, sinners' earthly hell previewing eternal damnation. This mindset persisted until Enlightenment winds shifted paradigms. And pondering these dynamics inspires us to foster compassionate societies. So motivate yourself by liking this video, share it to ignite conversations, and subscribe for more thought-provoking explorations that drive personal and collective growth. The decline of the hook mirrored broader penal evolutions in the 18th century, as Enlightenment philosophers like Cesare Beccaриa's 1764 on crimes and punishments decried torture and disproportionate penalties, advocating swift, certain punishments over spectacular cruelty, influencing monarchs like Frederick the Great of Prussia or Joseph II of Austria to abolish archaic methods. The guillotine, devised by Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotin in 1789 amid French revolutionary ideals of equality and death, promised instantaneous decapitation, a humane leap from lingering hooks, adopted in 1792, symbolizing progress, while hanging techniques advanced to long-drop methods snapping necks quickly, avoiding asphyxial throes, executions privatized. Shifting from public squares to enclosed prisons, acknowledging spectacle's potential to incite rather than deter, the hook's last official uses fading by late 1700s, though vigilante echoes persisted in lynchings or colonial suppressions. by 1800s deemed barbaric in Europe, though empires exported cruelties abroad. This transition underscores humanity's capacity for reform, motivating ongoing fights against capital punishment. So if this history inspires you to advocate for justice, like to show solidarity, share with activists, and subscribe for content that fuels your passion for a better world. Today, remnants of executioners' hooks endure in museums like Rothenburg ob der Tauber's Medieval Crime Museum, displaying authentic specimens amid reconstructed torture chambers, or Amsterdam's Torture Museum, where a wog hook evokes Dam Square's ghosts. These institutions spark debate, accused of sensationalizing suffering for profit, turning agony into tourism, exaggerating myths like widespread iron maiden use. Yet proponents highlight educational value, confronting visitors with past atrocities to appreciate present rights. Archaeological digs at gallows sites, like London's Tyburn or Paris's Montfaucon, unearth hook-marked bones, perforations in ribs or jaws confirming accounts, forensic anthropology revealing demographics, mostly young males, some females from lower classes, adding human faces to statistics. This material legacy bridges text and reality, reminding us of violence's tangibility, and in broader terms. The hook epitomizes punitive excess, rejected by modern frameworks emphasizing rehabilitation over retribution. Though tensions linger in debates over lethal injection, solitary confinement, or enhanced interrogations, echoing old impulses, it warns against technologizing cruelty, from butcher hooks to drone strikes or chemical agents, urging ethical oversight for victims long gone. Their stories compel remembrance, fostering dignity for all, even offenders. A commitment fragile yet essential. So as we conclude this epic journey through the executioner's hook's shadow, let it motivate you to cherish human rights. Like this video if it hooked you. Share it widely to spread this vital history. And subscribe now to stay inspired by tales that challenge and uplift. Because together, we can ensure such darkness never returns. Thank you for watching. And remember, knowledge is the key to a brighter tomorrow.